Welcome to the Mancave podcast, where motivation is a must and accountability is an expectation. Real men, real experiences, and real talk. The mission is clear: to become better versions of ourselves. Let's go!
What's up, YouTube world? Welcome back to the Mancave, okay? We got another hot one for you.
Yes, sir.
Today, my name is Jay.
And my name is Mike.
Man, listen, man, we got a good one for these people today. The topic is mental health.
Mental health and depression, and I think everybody needs to pay attention on this one today. It's going to be a lot to talk about and a lot to listen to, so tune in.
Let's get it. So, basically, man, Mike, hit us with a couple facts about mental health and depression. Run it down for us one time.
So a lot of us don't know that mental health is the big tree. If we're talking about what it is, mental health is the big tree, right? So it's leaves that are connected to mental health. So there's a few that I want to talk about, or that we want to just bring to the light, that are connected to mental health. So the first one is depression, right? The second one is anxiety, and the third one is bipolar disorder. So those are forms of mental health. So today we're just going to talk about depression and how it connects to us, and some other things we're going to talk about. So let's get to it.
So Mike, do you have any stories that you want to tell us, or whatever? Anything that you want to let the world know about, like any forms of depression or mental health problems that you went throughout life or whatnot, and how did you actually come out of that situation, and what did you use to actually, get out of that situation?
Yeah, so one story that I can think of off top right now is probably when I was around like 22 or 23. I was still a young pup, kind of gathered everything I had and just decided to move out of state, just on prayer alone. I had confidence in myself that I was going to find a new life in the state that I was going to. And I didn't have much, like I said, I was 22 or 23. And, I just felt like it was going to be a better start for me, a better life out in that different state. And little did I know it was going to change my life forever, right? So we go out there, and not even 2 days in, a family member accused me of doing something that, first of all, I would never do, right? And then to do it alone to family is something that is kind of disgraceful, right? So, and I don't have any room for what I was accused for in my heart. So just to be accused for doing something like that, and then it not being any proof that I did it, but everyone surrounding me and that I was dependent on in that moment, just that actually believe what I was accused about, it didn't make sense to me. Again, yes, I was 22, 23, but I was still a kid, and I didn't understand it in that moment. And I was told that I had to get out like the next day. Again, I didn't have anything, and things were taken from me on top of that, so.
I got a question for you, right?
Yeah.
So when that actually happened to you or whatnot, you were in a position to where you were all alone.
All alone.
And you were physically all alone.
Yeah.
Correct?
Right.
And you were in a mental state to where you had no other place to turn.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So while you were in that position, how did you figure things out when you were in that actual position? Like, what did you do?
Well, first, before, in order to answer those questions, I have to tell you how I felt first. So,
you know that then, Mike.
I felt like it was me against the world at that moment.
Okay.
I felt like if family would do something to me like this, what would the world do to me? Someone who doesn't know. So I had this mentality of it was just me against the world, just stemming from that, because, at that point in time, those family members were like brothers and sisters to me. You know what I'm saying? So it was really hard. And before I could climb out of it, I had to find out that I was actually in a deep state of depression. You know, I felt like everything was over. Like I said, I moved out there with little next to nothing. My parents had to scrap together some money for a Greyhound ticket, you know, and even my experience on the Greyhound bus where I only had like $1. So I spent it on a Gatorade and a honey bun, and I went out and used the bathroom, came back, and somebody on the bus took my Gatorade and my honey bun. You know, so I was crumbled from that experience, and actually humbled, right? Because that taught me to, and it instilled a hard belief in myself and a work ethic, you know, and that belief that I have to do it on my own. At that point in time, it was good for me. Yeah, of course, now me being 34, I see that you can't thrive alone. But right there, I just needed that time to myself to meditate. And that's one of the things that I used to always do, is just talk belief into myself. I know I didn't do that. I know at the end of the day what my character is, right? And I knew I'm a firm believer that the truth will come to the light.
Right.
You know, so I just stayed true to who I was. You know, it took me a moment because I was down and out. I had this zero tolerance for anything. Developed trust issues from that, you know, and I had a short fuse, you know. But what kept me grounded is the belief that I will always make it, and that the truth will come to the light. So I always stayed in the gym, right? Even though that I knew I was depressed at the time, I did things to escape my world for just that little bit. So I stayed into the gym. I worked out. I was always on the basketball court. So anything I could do, I draw. So I took that as a pastime. Anything that I can figure out or find and make a hobby, that's what I did to kind of combat that moment of depression.
That's what's up. So in that state of mind, you basically kind of like turned into a savage, basically, to a certain degree.
A certain extent.
You know?
Yeah, because I felt like in that moment I was dropped by people I thought that truly loved me unconditionally, and people I thought that I showed who I really was too. Right. You know, we broke bread, we stayed with each other, and then just a complete 180. It literally just changed at the drop of a dime. You know.
Okay. So one more question, right? So we're off to the aftermath now, and you know that's been some years or whatnot, and you know throughout life, I feel like communication is also key. You know, they are family or whatnot, but you still have to understand my point of view, my perspective, my everything. Yeah. You know, our family is so tight knit. You know, like if you was to do something to me, we might fight. Right. But you like my brother.
At the end of the day, we're gonna have to come. We're gonna have to see each other at the end of the day. You know,
because that's not how our family worked.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So based on that, what was the aftermath like years later? Did you guys work things out? You know, did they see it from your point of view or whatnot? Was there some type of understanding that occurred, and did it actually like help your mental health out at the end of the day? I know that after a couple years later or whatever, your mental health got better because you was probably like, you know what, the truth is the truth. It doesn't matter. And that's what
I'm gonna ride with.
You know?
Right.
But after talking to them, was it like stress off your shoulders or whatnot, or you know, was it a breath of fresh air? I mean,
that's a good question. Well, and this is the first time I ever talked to you about this part. In totality, we really haven't sat down and talked about that. And I can say that I'm still dealing with it today a little bit, because in my heart I know that it didn't happen, and obviously the intricate parts to this story.
So I'm gonna put it to you like this, right? I know the story, and I know the story from different point of views.
Every point of view.
I'm not the person that, you know, I'm not the type of person that's going to say like, hey, well, I'm gonna out you or I'm gonna out you. You know, y'all stories is totally different. I don't know what happened that day. I was not there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's that. So obviously a talk needs to be had. But
Yeah.
other than that,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, we haven't talked, and obviously we know what is happening with that family member that actually accused me of doing that, right? Like, I can kind of say it kind of not out of the picture, but we're not in close contact with any of the family, you know. So that's what stemming back to what I said about the truth will come to the light, right? So everything happens for a reason. I just had to keep my head down and believe in what I believe in, because I know my truth.
There we go.
You know, I know my truth. So it'll come out. You know, if no apologies are met, it's okay, because, you know, even though I would like them, right, it's not going to change who I am, because, like I said, at the root of my soul, I know who I am, and you know, what I'm made up of. You know, so it doesn't change how I move at all.
Okay, there we go. Well, that was a good one right there. Is there any other stories that you would like to elaborate on, as far as, you know, anything that got you in the slump or whatnot, and, you know?
Yeah, I could say most recently, and I think a lot of you guys can attest to it and kind of relate to it, is back last November, I caught COVID.
Okay.
And just to give you a little background around that, I was doing a lot of personal training at the time, and COVID hit that same year, probably around February. So all the way up until then, I didn't even come in contact with it. So I thought I was invincible, right?
Okay.
And that was me being ignorant. That was the ignorance.
Good.
And it didn't even have to take me for being irresponsible. Even though I was training without a mask, I was wiping down things and machines and equipment. But it took another client to come in to bring it in when she was sick, and she contaminated the whole gym, and I ended up with it. So that wasn't even the worst part. It took me out for 7 days straight. 7 days straight. I had a fever over 105 for 5 days straight.
Okay.
My resting heart rate was over 150. So those of you that don't know what that means is, so usually when I'm playing basketball at full speed, my heart rate might be at 140, 145. Running full speed, 2-3 hours, all I got. Resting, literally sitting down in my bed, my heart rate was 156 for a week straight. I suffered body aches. I had everything you could think of as far as nausea, diarrhea, things like that, throwing up. And for 7 days straight, my body was so broken that I had to crawl to the bathroom every time. And it left me in a mental state of just feeling alone, because even though my family, they were in the house, I had to be quarantined away from them. So I had to be isolated. At the time, my daughter was 1.5, and she kept running to the door. You know, that's one of my best friends. Dad, hey, like, she didn't understand at the time why she couldn't see her dad, and that broke me even more. And just being isolated and being by yourself, that they say that's one of the most dangerous things you can do, a person can do, is be left alone with their thoughts.
Well, let me elaborate on that, right? One thing about that is, it's gonna come times in your life where you're not gonna have nobody to turn to.
Right.
You're not gonna have nobody to talk to.
Right.
And you sitting there and you like, wow, man, like, where is everybody at? I can't call on not one person. But like, so like, when I'm in that situation, you already know what I do. I pray.
Yeah.
Because I pray automatically, period. You know what I'm saying? I do that all the time. You know what I'm saying? You would never know when I'm praying. I could walk right past you when I'm praying. You don't even know that. But that's one thing that I do. I pray for sure, because in a situation like that, I just leave it up to God.
Right.
I leave it up to God at the end of the day. I leave it on Him. I leave it on His front door. You know what I'm saying? He already know my problems. Hey, God, here you go. I'm just dropping this off. We got a bill right there, God. You'll figure it out.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? You will figure it out. But yeah, finish what you were saying. My bad.
No, it's okay. So just to elaborate on the story, you know, they say one of the dangerous things a person can be is left alone with their thoughts. And I, in that moment, I felt weak.
Okay.
Because before then, I thought I was indestructible. I was probably at that time in the best shape of my life, I thought. Healthy, I was on the right path. I was doing this. I had, and I felt like I couldn't be touched. And this thing that you can't see, you can't touch, took me out.
Took
right?
you out.
So it literally broke me down.
It wasn't even a person that was a little bit bigger than you. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's something that I couldn't see, and mentally and physically it broke me down. And then that's when that depression set in again, and anxiety, right? So I'm dealing with two forms of mental health right there, right? So I went back to my center after those 7 days, because those 7 days I literally couldn't move. But I had to stop feeling sorry for myself. I did what you said you do. I prayed about it, right? And then I started to read. I started to nourish my mental a little bit. And then I started to read about different ways to combat COVID and the body soreness. So what did I do? On the side of my bed, I started doing push-ups. I started doing squats, squaring myself back up for this big return. And then, like we were talking about in our last podcast, I started to manifest, right? Mike, you're going to get out of this. This is not the end of you, because at times I doubted. Yeah, and at times I doubted myself. At times during that 7-day period, I literally didn't think I was going to make it, right? And that's what hurt me, because on the other side of the door, I can hear my daughter's voice, So that's when I stopped doing it for myself, right? And I started doing it for those other people on the other side of that door. And that's what really gave me the help and the belief that I can make it through it. But yeah, I battled it. And like I said, I came up with those ways to come up out of that depression, that anxiety. And, we still deal with it to this day. We do a lot of things differently, as far as dealing with COVID, right. We can't celebrate with our families regularly like we used to. We have to make sure that we keep the numbers down and things like that. So exactly. I know a lot of you guys are dealing with this. You can't celebrate birthdays, holidays, the same like we used to.
Well, Mike, make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe.
Oh, yeah.
And
hit that notification button, so whenever we drop great content like this, you'll be the first to know, so you can tune in. So, but yeah, and it's just like small things that we taken for granted. It's literally harder now because we have to take into effect COVID. Exactly. So how do you feel about that?
I mean, it's just the smallest stuff, like, hey, the way you move, period. Like going to the grocery store or whatnot is just not the same anymore. Right. So it's like now that COVID's here, now you got to calculate your steps. You got to calculate, it's too many people over there. Right. I can't do that today. It's so much around us right now, and it's like, it feels like life is an everyday hassle now. So I think that with all that being said, we have to remain mentally balanced, okay? And it's ways that I remain mentally balanced going through this struggle in life. As we was talking about earlier, I always pray. I leave everything up to God, because at the end of the day, He knows what I'm going through. He's going to get me out of my slump. Right. He knows that. But as long as I focus and I stay in tune with what's going on, He's going to make it work. Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Another way that I stay mentally balanced or whatnot, I talk to family and friends. But at the same time, I only talk to certain family and friends that I trust.
That's the key factor.
Exactly, because like when you're talking to people who's not really friends, they can take your information and use it against you, and that will mess up your mental health.
And it'll get around.
Okay.
And and like you said, that'll affect your mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So another thing that I also do, and everybody who knows me know that I make them laugh. I mean, I love to laugh, you know what I'm saying? So I go out there, I like to put smiles on people's faces or whatnot, because at the end of the day, like, Mike, if I don't know you, if you like a coworker or something, I might joke around with you, you know what I'm saying, get a couple laughs in. But at the end of the day, I don't know what's really going on in his life. Exactly. I might have just brightened up his day, and I didn't know it. But at the end of the day, it's like we have to uplift ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Instead of always being an enemy, instead of always calling him, oh, you the N-word, you this, you that, you the third or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Why don't you just help bring him up? You know what I'm saying? Motivate him. You know what I'm saying? Let him or her know that they can do better in life. You know what I'm saying? So as far as mental health goes, I mean, it starts with us, but it also starts with us helping our own people out that's around us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So we are a community, and Mike, I think that this type of, podcast type situation, it helps me out mentally.
Oh yeah, this is therapy, like we said. Yep.
I can get stuff off my chest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who watching this, and I really don't care. But at the end of the day, hey, you here right now. So click that notification button, click that like button. All right.
Yeah, and you just hit it on the head. You just hit it on the head, and it's all about our perception and how we perceive things.
Yeah.
Yes, all of us, men. I'm talking to you right now. I'm talking to the man right now. Ladies, we appreciate you, but men, it's time to stop thinking that a form of depression or anything that has to deal with depression is a sign of weakness. We all go through it. We all go through it, and the best ways to combat that, like we were talking, talk to somebody, man. If that's the only thing you can do, talk to somebody. We have a comment section. If you guys have any questions, if you have anything that you're going through right now, put it down below. And we promise we'll reach out to you guys. We'll talk about it in the next section at the beginning of the next podcast episode, and we'll figure it out. We want to interact with you guys.
Definitely.
If we can make just 1%, your day 1% better, we'll do that.
And we know that we did it. We know that we did something right by doing that.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why we're relaying this information to you.
Exactly.
At the end of the day. So at the end of the day, man, we just want everybody to stay mentally balanced.
Yeah.
If you encounter any situations that threw you off balance, put it down in the comments. If there's any other ways that we can, combat mental illness, put it in the comments. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can learn from everybody.
From each other.
And that's one thing about this podcast. Let's all learn together. Let's all grow together.
Yep.
And with that being said, this is the Mancave. My name is Jay.
And my name is Mike. Until next time, peace.